Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is the third session of our Apocalypse Keys game. We just finished a particular case. We just wrapped that one up last time. We are going to be doing some housekeeping, some check-ins. We're going to be rolling into our next case, but before we get to that next case, we're going to spend some time back at division. We're going to try and get some interaction scenes, some debriefing, and all of that kind of stuff onto the table before we set up for the next mystery. For those of you who are playing Apocalypse Keys, I will give the title of the mystery when we get to it because it is a mystery from the book. So spoilers. But although I have found, given what we saw with the first door, the two groups I ran it for went very different directions, very different directions, very different approaches to what it means to be agents of division. But anyway, I want to remind us again that we have a layered set of safety tools. We are using that green, yellow, red system. I just want to quickly tag what we have marked as red and yellow. This is the last time I will mention this and go over this unless there is a change of personnel or, maybe towards the midpoint, just when we want to make sure that we get those on handle. So right now we have yellow, meaning that if it's referenced, it's going to be off screen or alluded to, but not dwelled on heavily, and that is torture and gore. And then for red, we have the following things. These are lines, these are hard stops for us: sexual assault, harm to domestic animals, harm to children, homophobia, transphobia, dental trauma, and torture by the PCs. Those are all things that are not story elements that we want to dwell on. So just want to get that out there. One of the things I want to do is, now that you've had a chance to try your characters, I want to go around and check in with everybody about your choices, see if you're still cool with your choices, you want to switch some things around, you have questions about a particular ability or move, and I want to see if anybody got a new move, XP wise, or a ruin move, and do that. So that's where we're going to start with sort of the housekeeping tonight before we return back to division. So Jesse, I'm going to start with you.
Can you actually come back to me last? I just realized I earned a rune move last time, but I didn't take it.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So I'm just going to take a quick peek at some stuff and then,
Sure, absolutely. So, Cat, for the summoned, one thing is you're going to clear those conditions in between, so you can clear the raging and the obsessed.
Nice.
And I want to check in first. Are you good with the choices that you've made for moves?
I am good with the choices I have made.
Okay. Let's see where you are XP wise. So your XP track is filled.
Yes.
So you can take a new summoned move. Of course, those are present on your playbook. You could take a new division move. There's a tab with those. Those are our agency moves.
I think I've been looking at the division moves. I think I'm going to take one. I don't know which one yet.
Okay. All right. Oh yeah, no, the division moves are a cornucopia of wild choices there. You only got one ruin, so you haven't started down that track particularly deeply, but we'll keep that in mind. You can keep your bond with Angel Goramel, even though Angel Goramel is no longer with us, because we'll invoke that ability versus in flashback or whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. So take a look at your division moves and see. I'm not going to ask you to set your XP question yet, unless you want to, because I do want to give the mission briefing later, and that may affect what people choose. But if you want to set it now, you are welcome to.
I don't want to set it now. I want to think about it and listen to other people make excellent choices.
Excellent choices.
Follow their lead.
Jose, going back to Cetus, you'll clear your condition.
Okay.
are you happy with the choices you've made in terms of your character setup, background, look, all of those things,
I think so.
and the like moves that you've chosen?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if I've used them all yet. No, I haven't used them all yet. I haven't used Man of a Thousand Faces yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
And I think I also took an advance, and I took a new found move, which is Walk with Me in Dreams, which allows me to basically enter the dreams of other people, even harbingers, even locations and objects, and unearth secrets, implant suggestions, warp reality, stuff like that.
One of the things that you have then with that move is a really interesting uh, ability that we kind of talked about a little bit about last time, about the idea of stating an irrevocable truth about a facet. That's a very like, you get to, if you want, choose one and like reshape the direction of the mystery, like the things we're talking about, like maybe the harbinger isn't important anymore to what we're doing and instead something else is, or maybe what the thing that we're investigating, the like it's actually referring to this other thing. You get a chance to do that, so it's a really interesting and dynamic move to have, and of course all the other stuff that you have as choices on there are really excellent as well. So and where are you on Ruin?
I don't think I'm very far.
Just one thing.
Just one little tick.
I gotta ratchet that up. Conditions and Ruin are on the GM side of this, the lever that I have for hard moves and soft moves, but also Ruin is a good thing to add in as costs and stuff on moves. So that's how that economy works. So I will try to lean into that because Ruin is fun, and it gets you cool stuff. Let's come to Samson. Samson, are you good with your pick so far? Wow, you had 3 conditions marked.
I did.
Not as many as Beelzebub, but close.
I have 0 now.
Well, yeah.
Do they all clear or just one?
All will clear.
Okay. And you asked me if I was happy with everything. I realized I don't think I've been using my moves much.
Okay.
So I have my starting move, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Right.
And my one choice of a move was a division move that I might back out and swap to another one. Because
Okay.
it kind of at the end of last session, I maxed out my XP and leveled, and I took something that I took a move from another playbook.
Okay.
Which is you are all that I have left. You are the last. This is from the last playbook.
Okay.
But an echo of the past will never leave your side. A small machine that holds the soul of a loved one, etc. I took the professor's book.
Oh.
And her shade is attached to that. And mechanically, when you spend time alone with the echo, you can gain a bond and tell everyone else at the table how your time is spent and how it's sad or lonely or moving.
Okay, I like that very much. And yeah, if you want to take you're taking a division move, that if you want to swap that out for another division move, or if you decide you want to take a one of your other playbook moves or a ruin move, or actually it'd either be a division move or a ruin move, take a look at those and see what you want to do with them.
So it can be a ruin move? Is that
so
correct?
At the start of the game, you get a playbook move. That's if you have any starting ones, and then you get to pick one. And then the other move you get to pick is either a division move or a ruin move.
Okay.
So your choices are broadened even more.
Yeah. So I had actually been looking at some of the ruin moves. Are they separate by playbook, or are they all the same?
No, they are separate by playbook. They're unique to your playbook.
So I've been looking at one of the ruin moves. Let me look over it again. The one I was considering was called the Corridor of Doors, and you allow the harbinger within you to access the corridor of doors and unlock a door, and weird stuff happens. So
wow, that looks wild.
That's
a wild move.
The only reason I was interested is because the last one, in the last adventure, we had doors that we were associated with. Do all the mysteries have doors?
Yeah, the door is what they call the sort of the method means instrument that the harbinger uses to bring about the apocalypse, to ascend, become more powerful, and carry out their plans.
Okay. So let me look that over, and maybe
Sure.
I might swap that.
All right. Jesse, let me swing back to you. You're
Yeah.
clear of conditions.
Yep. Thank you for I hopefully next adventure I'll fill them up again 1 or 2 times.
Okay.
And then maybe hit that rune move I took at the beginning of the game.
Did you want to
Yeah.
make any changes in your picks or
No,
your
I am
moves?
thrilled with my picks. I
Okay.
think they're great. Pretty happy with what I've got here. I did fill up both my XP and my ruin tracks. This game will kind of power gaming this a little bit. And so I took a new hungry move when I filled my XP track, and that is the one called I Remember the Taste of You. You have fed upon countless victims, and somewhere inside of you, the remnants merge to become a unique consciousness. This alien horror living under your skin will one day consume you in turn. When you first encounter a named PC, faction, or monster, you may declare that the remnants within you recognize them. When you do so, spend darkness tokens and roll. The keeper will tell you something significant and valuable, even on a miss. And then you can either pick lists for each set of rolls, like in-game stuff. It's cool.
And what did you take for the ruin move?
For the ruin move, I took a ruin move from the Fallen playbook, which I think fits neatly into the background of my character anyway. Your words once swayed gods and broke the gates of heaven. When you speak in your true and ancient voice, all living mortals are driven to despair. When you unleash the dark and enforce your will socially or emotionally, you may choose to mark 1 ruin. If you do so, treat the move as if you rolled an 8 to 10 and choose 4 options instead of 2.
Ooh, that is wicked.
Gonna be gaining a lot of ruin.
Absolutely. So we're going to take up with the sort of a division time. We're going to do little individual scenes, and then I'm going to give people a chance to call a scene or two. Yes.
So I'm going to tell you now which division move I am taking, which is the Forbidden Archives one.
Forbidden Archives. Remind me what that does.
So,
so good.
I have lost it. Here. Division has within its facilities a maze of libraries and tomes bursting with knowledge. You found a section of the library that very few know about. Some books are so dangerous they are bound by chains and spell technology. When you take this move, answer at least one of the following questions. And I'm going to tell you the ones I'm answering. One is, who is the head librarian and what esoteric rule do they demand everyone follow? And it's Mr. Willoughby, and he demands that you have to dress entirely in white to come into the library because it's very clean that way.
Okay.
When you reveal you have brought one of the forbidden books with you, spend darkness tokens and roll. And then do you want me to tell you like what happens?
Oh, no. I'll be surprised. I will we'll save that for surprise on that. Okay. We'll add Willoughby and find a picture for him, add him to the NPC tab. So let's start with Samson. You all have traveled back to the facility, to Chicago, again, going through that weird transit of dimensional shifts. You no longer, you were supposed to bring Angel Gormel back with you, but Angel Gormel is no more. You will pass in. You are coming off of a mission, so you actually have to walk the Minotaur maze, which you know is kind of a test to make sure that you're not bringing anything malevolent back with you, and kind of a supernatural decontamination that will go on there. And the Minotaur will greet each of you gruffly before he lets you through. I imagine he has a tiny stool and a little desk that he has there, and as he checks things out. But from there, you've gone in, would have checked equipment, and you would have been sort of separated to give reports, oral and some written. And then there is a debrief with your handler. And I think we established our handler as an older woman, severe, kind of ex-military type. I don't think we gave her a name yet, or at least I couldn't find it in my notes. But let's start with that sort of after the whole writing of reports. Samson, in fact, let's actually give on my list of names. We will call her Captain Noonan.
Is Captain Noonan a military rank? Is she the captain of a vessel? Do we just call her captain because that's her role?
That is what everyone has called her. It's unclear. She wears kind of military style clothes, but no uniform. And you can tell that English isn't her first language, so it's unclear what her accent is, though it kind of fades through. I'm not going to do that because I'm not Rich Rogers. But Samson, Captain Noonan says, so are you okay having gone to the facility? Are you feeling all right? I was leery about sending you, given both that you had been there before and because of your particular penchant for the dead. I was afraid that might be overwhelming.
Well, it was not pleasant, but we succeeded, and I think that's the important part. Or are you looking for something more? Is this a psych eval?
No, we have therapists who do the psych eval. I'm trying to ascertain what you thought of your own performance of your comrades. If there's anything that you left out of your report that you would like to tell me, that sort of thing.
Why would I leave anything out of my report that I would want to tell you at this point?
I don't know. If you did that, I would be very curious about your motivations as well.
I think we did a good job. I think that I do question, as I put in my report, I do question the evacuation of the base, because I was there and I know that we were told that everyone was out. But in reality, whenever we went back, there were a number of people who were left behind. And I know that Division doesn't provide answers to me, but I think this is a case where without those answers, my faith in Division would be a lot diminished. See that, can't you?
I absolutely can. One of the things is that Division has changed quite a bit since the days that facility was in operation. Even during those last days, cut off as it was, difficult to access, I know, and certainly everybody talks about that there were things going on there that were not great, the choices that were made. And I hope that Division has improved since then. Is there anything you saw while you were there that shakes your faith of division that I can answer for you?
I would think that I would think that for my faith to be set within division, that answer should be forthcoming because we already know, and it's been established, that division misleads their operatives whenever it is pertinent to the mission. So I guess the proof there would be that division acts in such a way that it's now a new entity, as opposed to just saying that it's new.
So I'm reading from that you saw that there had been some deception.
Yes. That division had declared that the base was clear and everyone had evacuated, but
I
there
understand
were a number of people that weren't.
But beyond that, it seems to me you're dwelling on some things. Were there other things that you saw in the base that were problematic?
Of course. If there hadn't been, we wouldn't have been sent. There were all sorts of issues that were seen in the base. You had 2 escaped harbingers who had to be apprehended. You had an open door. You had operatives who were left behind. And it was a messy situation, as you're well aware, Captain.
We're still trying to ascertain the how and why of their departure. Your report, I think, for all of your reports, are perhaps a little sketchier on that. But regardless, I appreciate you coming in and talking with me about this. Thank you, Samson. You're dismissed.
Yes, sir.
So let me ask you this, Beelzebub, she says. It seems strikingly out of character for Angel Goramel to decide to accompany the team. Can you perhaps enlighten me as to why that happened? Were there circumstances? Did something change on site? I don't see anything like that in any of the reports. So why would Goramel continue with you rather than going and calling for the evac?
Just a quick question out of character.
Yeah.
Goramel came back with us, right? Goramel survived the situation.
Goramel is dead.
I don't remember Goramel dying. Good to know.
Remember, right. he got turned into one of those creatures.
Oh, that's right. It's right. I killed him.
That's when you went berserk.
That's right. That was the thing that kicked it off. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So I say, if you're asking me, you already think you know the answer, and I take a pull on my cigar.
I want to hear it from you.
What do you want to hear? Tell me what you'd like to hear from me, and I'll agree with it. I know how these work. I know how these things work, Captain. I've been through it before. Give me the piece of paper. I'll sign it. Give me 6 demerits, whatever you're going to do.
Demerits? This isn't a question of demerits. This is a question of a fellow operative being killed. And possibly killed. I want to know.
You know what was in that house. Don't pretend you give a shit.
I want to know why. I want to know if the responsibility for his death.
The angel is responsible for his own death. And direct consequences of choices he made.
And there was no undue influence applied, supernatural otherwise, from the rest of the team to make him stay?
There was no supernatural influence deployed to in the key choices he made that put him where he was.
That is delightfully evasive, Beelzebub. That is really delicious. Here's the thing. Goramel, for all his faults, was a valuable agent, a useful person, a person who we could send into places and trust not to tear shit up.
Oh, I thought he went into places.
Yes.
I know. He came with us, for example. You seem very suspicious about that, though.
Because Angel Goramel follows the rules, and as the contact, he was to go in, get you in, and then immediately leave. So you can see my question.
Again, tell me what you want to hear.
I want to hear the truth, but I have read the stacks of volumes about that over the years, and I don't think that's something we get from you particularly. All right, you are dismissed. Cetus, have you in your report talked about that connection between yourself and this young woman who was involved, this person who was trapped in dreams there?
So that's out of character. You're asking me. You're not.
Yeah.
So
Did you talk about Bella? Have you mentioned that? Have you kind of what have you said about that?
I think Cetus included everything that was, the dollhouse was connected to Bella, what we found out about Bella. What he did not include was the memory that he accessed of his interaction where he somehow blew Bella out of existence somehow within a dream, because that's been disturbing to him, and I think he's been trying to file it away somewhere. So he did not include that.
How are you dealing with having to essentially eliminate someone who you discovered shares a similar origin, mysterious as it is to you, Cetus? I mean, from what I see from the description, it seemed like Bella had a parallel to what we know of your arrival, of your origin, right?
Wait, out of character for 1 second. I want to make sure I remember what happened. Was Bella actually directly involved in? Did we actually meet her, or she wasn't the harbinger, was she?
She wasn't the harbinger, but she was tied to what went on, and it was clear that she had already kind of been destroyed.
Right. She'd already been destroyed. Okay. So I think we see Cetus kind of slumping, teen slump in the chair, looking at her, at the captain, and thinking. And then he said he pauses for a moment, and then he says, "That was okay." In the most uninformative teen way he could possibly do.
Do you think that's why Nox and Vex and her went there? Was some connection to her origin?
Could be, I don't understand all these things. I'm new to all of this. I'm just following the lead of, Beazle and Samson and Vane. I don't really, it doesn't all come together for me like it does for them. So yeah, you could be right, Cap. You could be right.
I ask because I went over Bella, Vex, Mr. Knox file that we had previous to sending you in, and at least in the files that were given to me, there was no mention of Bella's origin being like that. So you understand my concern.
What is your concern, Captain? You think I might not be objective with respect to Bella? She's gone, though, right?
No, it bothers me that there is a gap in the information that we had about Bella. Whether that is deliberate or something else, I am worried that it might point to. She pauses, point to something. I'm definitely going to have to follow up on. And given that, it worries me that perhaps some of the reason we don't know about you is maybe information vanished into the ether as well with your background.
Well, he mumbles a bit. He goes, well, you know, I don't remember everything. I don't remember much of anything from before you found me. It's not my fault. I can't remember.
Okay. I'm not going to press you on this point. You've only been on a handful of missions so far, and this was a difficult one, going against fellow agents as it was, and into the tomb of an old version of Division.
And you can see like Cetus's like form is kind of, it's almost like it's not becoming transparent, but it's kind of like morphing a little bit as if it's getting diffuse, like he's squirming somehow, and that's making his form kind of lose its integrity a little bit under the eye of the captain.
All right. Well, thank you. You are dismissed, Cetus.
Can I go? Okay.
Yes,
bye.
you're dismissed. Yes, that's what that means.
Bye. And he slips out.
So, Vane
will slouch in and kind of sit down and pick at the chair arm as though to see whether it is easily destructible or not, and then sort of look at the captain.
What do you think happened to Gormel? Why did he go along with you? It seems out of character. I know you disliked Gormel. That's in some reports from other missions and things like that. Like this just seems weirdly out of character.
I can tell you exactly what it was, Captain.
Okay.
It was pride. It was Gormel. We were talking about who could do the best, and Gormel was like, he got his nose out of joint and was like, yeah, I gotta go. And you know how he was. He felt like he had to prove something. And so we tried to talk him out of it. Every single one of us tried to talk him out of it, said, look, we don't need you. And he was like, no, I gotta go down. It was,
Interesting. That's a new wrinkle on this that I hadn't picked up from the others.
Well, I guess the guys stick together, and it was one of those sort of, things.
Rose before the agency.
Yeah, they wanted to see who could get down and kick the most butt, and Gormel was kind of like, I could do it, and there he was, he was leading the way.
So let me ask you this. Given what you saw of Beelzebub's let's say outburst, do you feel confident working with him in the field again?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't start tearing stuff up every once in a while? It's par for the course.
So Samson brought with him the soul of one of the researchers.
The dude just has ghosts and souls floating around him all the time. It's like they're kind of just like this little cloud going around him, and he's talking to him. So yeah, maybe he brought a soul. I don't know.
He did. He put it in his
Oh,
report.
okay.
Uh,
I wasn't paying. I was
no.
busy
My
working on.
question was, do you think that the professor is the only name that we have? Is she a security risk?
We're all security risks, aren't we? Kind of like at our heart. Are you asking if the professor is any more of a security risk than any of us Omen class monsters? Is
Yes.
that what you're really asking?
If she is, I would like to know. But
I don't. No.
I just have one more question for you.
Okay. Whew.
Why did you break the dollhouse before any of the other shit had been revealed?
Because it was the most fragile object in the room.
That's what I told them. They didn't believe me. All right. Thanks much, Vane. You may go.
All right.
And what I'd like to do is cut to kind of a go around and let each of you call a scene with a fellow PC or with an NPC that we've established, or if you want to create a new NPC, I'd like to do that and play out so we can see some more of life for you in Division here. So, Stephen, Samson, what scene would you like to do?
Let's see. I think I'd like a scene with Cetus.
Okay. Do you want to in his room or in another part of the facility, or where would you like to talk?
Oh, Cetus likes birthday parties, is that right? I think that if I'm not mistaken, we had established that there was going to be a birthday party
You guys missed
around the
it.
time. Oh, did we?
5:30. You didn't get back by 5:30.
Oh, we missed
But
it.
there's
Oh,
another one today.
actually, I think they saved you a piece of cake, right? So we're in the break room, and I've been sitting there and I watch people as they come in and out doing their normal everyday kind of things. And I think whenever I see you, I say, Cetus, they saved you a piece of cake.
They did. Where is it? Is it in the fridge? And Cetus runs over to the fridge and opens it and starts looking through all the old stuff and unlabeled stuff. But he does find a piece of cake and it's got his name on it. And he pulls it out. It's like, it's here. But I missed the ritual. But I have the cake. And then he sits down at the table with does Samson sit with him?
Yes. I get up and I move over to where you are. Yes.
These are these little rickety plastic chairs, tiny little cafe tables in the fluorescent light of the break room. And so he takes the saran wrap off of the piece of cake and he starts smelling it. You know what they do with the cake, right?
They eat it.
But before they eat it, they light it on fire.
And they make wishes.
Yes. They force the celebrant to make a wish of his heart's desire or their heart's desire. And you know what else happens? When they do that, everyone else in the room invariably starts thinking about their own heart's desire and what wish they would make if they were in front of the flaming cake. And when they don't think other people are listening, oh my God, the things that they wish for.
And then they extinguish the cake like it's dead now. And their wishes are now dead.
True enough. There's a bittersweetness to the whole thing. You're right. Even the celebrant doesn't ever really know if their wish is going to come true.
What do you get out of this? Do you like hearing their wishes?
Yeah. Like I say, they wish for the most incredible things. They have no idea that I'm listening. And I'm really, I stay to the background in these, at these festivities. But I'm still learning about people. And hearing heart's desires, people are normally thinking about really stupid things like their calendar or their next meeting they're going to. But at the birthday parties, something else comes out, something deeper, something more edible. But don't tell Beelzebub that, because if he comes to the party, he'll eat up all their hopes and desires, and I won't be able to play with them at all. We saw what happens to him when he gets gluttonous. Have you seen that before?
I don't want to think about it very much. That was a lot. I've seen others. They're all different, but I think it's interesting that they're celebrating the start of their life, and the ritual involves the end of their life. It's all they think about. It's part of what they think about is one step closer.
Do you want to try a piece of my cake to see if you can taste it? That death, that bittersweet.
At that point, there's the screeching of a chair, and you look over and you see one of the accountants has been there hearing all this. They've kind of a screech. They're getting up. They were trying to be quiet. And I think they kind of get their stuff together and they head out the door.
And Cetus is kind of like frozen with the piece of cake on the end of his fork that he was about to offer to Samson.
Samson waves goodbye to the accountant.
I'll have to follow up with that one, make sure he doesn't remember anything. Cake? And Cetus goes to feed Samson the piece.
And I think Samson starts to say like something like, you see kind of a polite, no, that's okay. As he starts to talk, you shove it in his mouth.
Does that feel like a good place to cut, Stephen?
Sure.
Yeah. Beelzebub. Who do you want to interact with? What do you want to see you doing? What do we see?
So here's something I'd like to get on screen, and I'm like, I think I have like a regular bridge game.
Okay.
I'm curious which of the PCs play in this game, and then we can fill out the table with NPCs. Do any of you? And you can be a new player just learning who's intrigued by the situation. You can be someone who's played your whole life. I'm just, I think it's an interesting, set dressing for a bigger social interaction.
I think Vane is part of the whole. Rivalry part of the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I mean, we're not partners. You have a different partner.
No.
I don't know what you mean. Oh no! We are not partners.
Yes.
No, we're not partners. But I thought it's part of the bridge game.
Yeah.
Right. So you're the other, because right, 4 people in bridge, 2 teams. So yeah. So I just making sure I understood you. Anyone else, or is it two NPCs who we partner with?
Samson used to, Samson has been barred from playing any of these games because sometimes he gets hints from ghosts that aren't okay. So card games aren't something that Samson's been allowed to do.
Wow.
I think Cetus is probably also likely not the telepath.
The mind reading probably
not allowed in bridge.
You definitely tried to play once and just didn't get why you couldn't just read people's minds. I shouldn't say definitely. I suspect you tried to play once and didn't understand why you couldn't just read people's minds.
So, Beelzebub, who is your partner?
Yeah. So I think my partner is. I'm just taking a look at this list of NPCs. trying to remember who some of these people are from that first session. Who was Emily Santos? She's someone from a different you know what, no, it's Marisol. It's Marisol.
Yeah, that's the
Marisol is a better
janitorial.
person, right? So she's my bridge partner.
Okay. She takes it fairly seriously. She's mentioned following Omar Sharif's bridge columns when she was very young. And so, Vane, who is your partner?
It's one of the janitors, actually.
Okay. So another janitor, another rival janitorial staff person.
I love this so much.
Just as you two kind of have a rivalry, these two janitorial.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this idea that the like the janitorial staff is comfortable playing with the Omen class monsters, but we kind of keep our distance from like the the
white collar.
Yeah, well, or they keep away from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
The janitors, they don't care. They they're all right.
Mm-hmm.
So Beelzebub, are you good at bridge?
Oh, I'm great at bridge.
Okay.
So long as I think I shouldn't say that. I play bridge very well with Marisol. I think I have to have a simpatico partner because I'm kind of prickly, and if I feel like they're not like they're not picking up what I'm throwing at them, then I get upset. It doesn't work well. But Marisol and I play very well together.
And Vane, are you good at bridge?
No, just terrible. Just prone to kind of like making wild guesses and trying to be psychic and acting as though I can read minds, but not actually able to do so.
Frank is a very tolerant partner. He's like that's an interesting choice. Okay, yeah, that's what we're going with. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we get that scene. There's probably a lounge that's not the break room that you can sit and play at there, Beelzebub.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think as we're playing, I don't give a shit about confidentiality, really, right? I say to Vane, I'm like, so the captain was giving me the third degree about Angel.
I told him that the Angel was being a douchebag and wanted to go be a douchebag, and that was what happened.
Well, Angel's always a douchebag, right? Better off without him.
I'm pretty sure Captain brought it.
You don't have to lie for me,
It's a team thing. So, we all sink or swim or whatever. Anyway, he was a douchebag, and I don't really see that anybody needs to suffer for his being one other than himself.
Yeah. I kind of like look them in the eye as I take a trick, and I say, they know what we are, Vane. There's no illusions here.
I'm not claiming there's any illusions. None of us had any illusions that he was not a douchebag.
Fair. We like play out the next hand. I don't say anything. We play out the next hand in silence. If Vane has anything they want to say here, or I think I think I want to.
I like cutting on that silence.
Yeah,
let's
cut there.
Like letting that hang there says something about the relationship.
Yeah. Maybe Marisol cracks a joke at the end to try and like break the awkward silence. No table talk.
Yeah, exactly. Cetus. Who would you like to call a scene with? PC or NPC or I don't know. What would you like to see?
So watching Beelzebub go ballistic or nuclear was eye-opening for Cetus. And he's the one who kind of somehow protected the group from the worst of it. But he's realizing that these people are really dangerous. And and I think he is going to try to ingratiate himself somehow to Vane. Because Vane is the one, Vane just looks at him with this kind of look of pity, right? That's the feeling that Vane has towards Cetus for not remembering his background, having lost so much. And so I think Cetus is going to try to make a connection with Vane.
Sure. Where do you want to kind of cross paths with Vane, Cetus?
So Vane, Cetus would look for you in a moment when you were feeling more at ease than you normally do, more open or more permeable. Where would that be?
I'm trying to think where that would be. I think that might be down in sort of like the weaponry room, which I could see Vane kind of being down there and kind of like looking at the weapons, kind of like, oh, I like this one, and just sort of enjoying herself that way.
Okay. So I think Cetus comes into the weapon room while I don't know if you're just fondling the weapons or whether you're polishing or sharpening some weapons.
Just kind of admiring a new set of guns. So yeah.
And Cetus comes up silently, but he knows that Vane is aware of him. He's not sneaking up on Vane or anything, and says, "I've never used a weapon before. Can you tell me about them?"
Well, with most of these, you point one end at your enemy and you pull a trigger and prepare for a little bit of recoil.
But there's so many.
Loud.
How do you choose amongst all of these?
Well, you choose big guns for big targets and smaller guns for smaller targets.
And I think Cetus steps forward. And some of these are supernatural, right? These aren't all conventional weapons.
I'm sure some of them are weird and wacky looking.
And so I think he steps forward, and there's like maybe a knife, kind of a nasty ass looking knife on a stand, and Cetus just hears something, and he says, "Gosh, this one seems to be singing to me. Can I touch it?"
That was possessed. I don't know that I would touch it. Unless you want to be possessed by the spirit of a 12th century berserker. And sometimes you do.
Might be interesting. Would I be able to get out of it once I got possessed? Or is possession permanent?
I usually, when people are done with the battle, they let go of the knife. The one time I've seen it used.
Maybe I'll steer away from that one. Which one do you love best?
Say it again.
Which one do you love best, Vane?
I like this one, and I pick up this enormous, and it's like this purplish metal thing, and it's got like a trident-y thing sticking out and nets and like lots of switches, and I start explaining that this is for demon setting, and this is the ghost setting, and this is the werewolf setting. And I'm not sure that any of these actually work, but they won't let me take this weapon out because they say it's experimental. But I am dying to try it in the field.
This is a meta question. Am I allowed to use a move on another PC?
With that kind of thing, we always have you check in with the other PC before we will resolve anything like that. So you propose it and we check in on that.
All right, so I'll propose. I'm thinking that maybe you can't hide your heart from me. Oh, but wait a second. There's a basic move about connecting with someone, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's that one? Reveal your heart.
Reveal your heart. That's when you try to sincerely connect to somebody.
Uh-huh. Okay. I could do that, or I could
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Why don't I just go use the basic move then when I try to sense.
Yeah. Kat, you okay with that? Resolving that? Okay.
That's fine.
So how many darkness tokens do you want to spend, Cetus?
Oh, let's see. Do I have any? Going back to my tab. Looks like I have one.
Did that
And
interaction with
the
Samson
captain.
or with Vane generate any for you, you think?
Well, I think with Samson, maybe I did ask someone to listen to my wisdom about birthday parties.
Yeah, certainly.
And I think I did react with uncertainty or cowardice with Captain Noonan.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just take 4 and put me up to 5.
Okay.
And I'll spend 2.
Fair enough.
So that'll put me back to 3. 2 on this roll. So okay. I just do 2d6 plus 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. It's an 11. Okay, that's too much, right?
So on 11, you have a moment. You can also burn a bond to reduce it down, but if you're willing to take the 11 plus, you have a moment of closeness, but also weakness. You ask each other, how do I scare you at this moment? And then you get to make a little pick there.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stick with the 11. Yeah.
So as you're talking to Cetus here, and you've been in the field with them, Vane, and in this conversation, like, what scares you about Cetus right now?
Well, I'm not convinced he's real. I think he might be something someone made and only think he's real. But I don't want to get into that with him.
Scared of digging too hard on that? Okay. And what about for you, Cetus? What scares you about Vane in this moment?
What scares me about Vane in this moment? I think what scares Cetus about Vane is their kind of reckless certainty in their own actions. That they never question them. They seem to never question themselves, and that scares him in terms of what that might be, the implications of that for being part of a team with Vane.
Nice. Now, each of you has a choice. You have 2 things you can choose. You can either say how fearful you become of the other party on a scale of 0 to 4, and then that becomes their new number of darkness tokens. Or you can gain a bond with what the darkness demands of you.
Ooh.
What do you think, Vane? I certainly heard an ooh there with the ladder.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna take a point to what the darkness demands of me.
I think there's a moment where you kind of talking and you realize this is a young mind, and this is somebody that you could probably manipulate, and maybe there's somebody who could help you embrace that love that the darkness is asking you to find. Maybe there's some means of using him as a tool for that.
I'll certainly be markedly nice for Vane.
And Cetus, what would you like?
So a question about, so tell them how fearful. So I would tell Vane how fearful I've become of them.
Right. And then you get to say what their darkness token total is at that point.
What their darkness total, not
Yeah.
my darkness token. Or I gain a bond with what the darkness demands.
With what the darkness demands.
I'll go ahead and do the first one. So I think on a scale of 0 to 4, I'll just say, let's say it's a 3.
Okay. Some visible nervousness there. I think there's a little bit of awkwardness, perhaps after that exchange, some smiles. The moment probably gets a little false before we cut away from that. We're going to take our first break here. We're going to take 10. We're going to come back, and I want to have Vane call a scene.
Okay.
And then we're going to shift into a little bit of meta setup, and then we're going to move into setup for the next case. So let's take 10.
Just a reminder that I have to go.
Oh, that's right.
I'm going to have to open door here. I'll see you all next week. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure we get the recording up so you can get the briefing and stuff. Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
So, Vane, let's have you call a scene with an established NPC, another PC. Who do you want to talk to?
Vane would like to go down to the archives and actually snoop around a little, because one of the reasons Vane keeps going down there is to see if there's any way to thwart the prophecy, and periodically just to shove a bunch of books in her pockets because sometimes they're useful.
And what does your white outfit look like when you come in? You know Mr. Willoughby is not going to let you in without it, so what does it look like?
It is a white leather trench coat over white jeans and a white t-shirt and a big white hat.
Well, Vane, it is good to see you again. You're looking very polyester bride.
I never. Yes, sir. Indeed. I need to check books. I haven't been down in section 13. I wanted to go down there and check some sources.
All right. And he kind of stops and he says, when you're back in the stacks there and moving around, if you see anything unusual, will you tell me?
Yes.
We've had some things go missing, and there have been some reports of a few other oddities. And with a place like this, that can get out of hand quickly, so we want to be careful.
Fair enough, I say. I will let you know if I see anything odd.
And you're going to head back there.
Mhm.
I'm going to take a look at this move that you have here. So, tell me about this section that you found
So
that
this
no one
is
else
the
has.
section on hells.
Okay.
And it turns out there's a lot of different hells, and so I'm still trying to find the one that I'm from, and I think it's here somewhere. There's got to be a book about it.
And why is this clearly a place that others haven't found, that this is your special corner of the library?
Well, you have to really sort of wind down a number of stairways, and it gets increasingly dank, and it quite frankly doesn't smell very good in this section.
And you grab up a few books, but what's the book on the shelf that catches your eye enough that you kind of have to stop
Oh,
and flip through it here.
It's bound in a kind of weird purplish leather that looks like whatever it came from must have actually been that color instead of the leather being dyed. And it's got a kind of peculiar scaly appearance. And it's small. It like fits into the palm of one's hand, which is kind of intriguing. So
what's the title?
I don't, it's just this series of weird little runes, and I don't know what they say.
Kind of look through it. Is this one you're also pocketing?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. What's the thing you see as you're coming out of this section? This has been your own little hidey hole for quite a while.
Quite a while.
What is the thing that you see that tells you that someone else has been through here?
I see that the piles are different than they were last time. And that it's like somebody's pulled some stuff down. It looks like also on Hells. Oh, that's not good. They've been rather careless with things too. I'm actually careful with the books, aside from putting them in my pockets.
Fair enough. You'll head back out with your ill-gotten gains. Mr. Willoughby will say, how was your visit?
Very good. Has somebody else been down there in that section lately?
Which section?
13.
I don't believe so. That's restricted.
Well, it looked like somebody had been just camping out and playing Merry Hell, and it looked like they might have taken a number of books. I'm not sure.
I did notice that some books have gone missing, especially from that section.
Yes.
Well, I'll have somebody summon up a book hunter, and we'll see about this.
Excellent.
All of the books are marked with certain sigils, and I can let loose quite an array of arcane forces to get them returned.
Excellent.
I'm going to cut from that to your team being called up to the briefing room, and Captain Noonan is there, clearly reviewing some files, and says, "We're going to be dispatching your team right now. We're going to be sending you out to the airport. You're going to be on a flight. Right now, we've only been able to commandeer a flight that has a changeover to another cargo plane at LA. We are sending you to Manila. So here is what we have. And I'll kind of read you the briefing here. Let me get this up here. Omen-class monsters. Initial evidence suggests a door of power may be present in Manila, Philippines. Investigate the murders of the declining Manananggal population. Former agent Sister Teresa of the Broken Crucifix has requested assistance, observation, and direct action. Harbinger-class monster may be behind the murders or encouraging violence and chaos from the shadows. Find the door of power and contain it before the Harbinger claims ascension. And I think you're all familiar enough with supernatural lore and things. You will know that Manananggal are a type of Southeast Asian monster. They're part of a larger group clan of monsters called the Aswang. Manananggal can uh, 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 essentially deploy bat-like wings. Otherwise, they look human. They tend to have more feminine features. They can also detach the top half of their body from the lower half of their body and fly off in that way, usually leaving the bottom half in a safe location. There's a lot of prejudice against them there's a lot of really unpleasant folklore that isn't true about them. But Captain Noonan say Sister Teresa will give you the full briefing when you reach there. Let me ask this. Beelzebub, you know that Sister Teresa was once a human division agent, but she left the agency claiming to have found God. But you know that's not true. Why did she really leave, and why did she really go back to the Philippines?
I think she had unfinished business there. She wasn't like 100% lying when she said she found God, although God didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay.
You know, she felt like she needed to the people there were people there who needed her care and protection more, and working like being sent on division missions wherever like wasn't serving that purpose.
Okay, I like that. Captain Newton will say, so be aware in the Philippines, the existence of monsters is kind of an open secret, but they tend to be relegated to shanty and lower income areas, and there's a great deal of prejudice against them. So exercise caution. We definitely would like you to figure out who is killing these Manananggal, and if there's a threat to the Manananggal population in general, ascertain that as well. Are there any questions? All right. You've got about an hour to get any loadout you need to get into your kit before we're going to ship you off to the airport. And Samson, what is your like prep look like? Do you have prep? Do you just walk down and wait for the van to take you to the airport, or do you have a go bag, or do you change? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I've got a go bag, and I think that because I know where we're going, I kind of swap out, so that I've got a big cloak kind of thing. Like in the last one, we went to a cold area, so I had a big coat, and this way I have like a big raincoat to keep the water off. Just, set up slightly different, and it's, general kind of usage kind of thing.
Okay. Bob, what about you? Like what is your like getting ready to go look like?
Yeah, I think I get in what I think of as my uniform, if that makes sense. Like I think around the base, I wear, like a bathrobe, shorts, and an undershirt, kind of,
Okay.
walk around in slippers. This is my home, and I'm going to be comfortable in it. God damn it, even if it's a paramilitary base.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go out, when I leave, when I go out on missions, like it's James Bond suits, right? I described myself as kind of like short and wide,
Mm-hmm.
kind of beefy, and I wear suits to sort of like reflect that.
Okay.
So like very very, very sort of like slick look.
Okay. And what about you, Vane? Like, what is your kit?
Well, Vane's got that purple leather trench coat, which is kind of the basis of their outfit, and you can see a montage of just basically sliding knives and lock picks and small smoke and bombs and just like kind of like Batman
Okay.
kind of. It never really uses any of this, but just is super prepared.
Okay. Is it one of those things where it goes on so long it kind of stops being interesting and then it keeps going till it gets interesting?
Yes.
Like, okay.
Yes, until it just becomes absurd.
Okay.
Yes.
You are thrown into a fake ambulance. They turn on the sirens to get through traffic to run you out to the airport, where you're put on a commercial transport, and you are flown to LA. You'll arrive at a military field where you are put on a military cargo plane headed for the Philippines. It is a long ass flight. It is a long haul. But I think we cut to the back end of the cargo plane opening up. We have like a subtitle like 18 hours later or something like that. And it is fucking pouring rain. I mean, it is coming down that sort of just absolute sheets when you step out. It is clearly you're in monsoon season here in the Philippines. The tarmac here, like, it has drainage, but it can't keep up. So you're walking in a couple of inches of water as you cross over to actually a helicopter that they have for you. Not a great looking helicopter. Like, this is clearly a private person who's been commissioned to do this, and gets the four of you in and says, "Good flight. Did you have a good flight?"
Fine.
Good. All right. Yeah, we'll head on in now. I have my instructions. Okay. You can just some of those seatbelts work. So if they do, go ahead, strap yourselves in. And he will lift off. And you can immediately tell that the winds are up. And this helicopter does that shake as you rise up into the air, and then he will lift up, and we see you headed towards the lights of Manila, the tall apartment buildings, the various blocks there, the lights, the city. I think even as you are kind of flying over in the dark, you can see that streets are flooded out from the rain. People are walking around in waist-high water, but not in any kind of panicked way. They're walking around like this is just how things are. And there will be a bit as you head into part of the city that you can tell we've kind of dropped down. These are apartment buildings and things that you can see the facade cracking on them. You can see the a gray market work of rebuilding on the outside. You can see lots of amateur things done to run power from places to places or build up extra space, that kind of thing. And then we'll see this helicopter kind of come in and shakily kind of comes over a apartment building, it looks very run down. There are kind of strung handmade lights that are waving in the wind and rain. It looks like there's some kind of canopy maybe covering a rooftop garden, but it's hard to tell. And you will see this nun barely holding an umbrella in place, waiting for you as this helicopter pilot kind of ditches you out as quickly as he can. Vane, you've been to the Philippines before. You've been here on a mission. Like, what's different about it now? Like, what for you, like, looks different, feels different from when you were here last time?
Well, part of it is that this is more water than I've ever seen before. But man, the people look more dour than they did last time. I remembered them as a reasonably friendly group, and these people are all kind of scowling and not very happy.
Sister Teresa will shout over the sound of the rain and the helicopter coming away, and she shouts, "Beelzebub, good to see you. Come, follow me. I'm sorry. This is the fastest way to get your team here."
Did she go by Sister Teresa as an agent of Omen, or did she have a different name? Is this like when she's taken on?
It would have had a different name.
Yeah.
Do you use that name?
I use that name.
Okay. She will literally stop and she will say, "It's Sister Teresa."
Sorry. No offense meant. I'll stick to the name you want. Old habits. Deep apologies.
Who are these with you? I don't think I've met these others. I'm Sister Teresa.
So Vane and Samson.
Vane, Samson. Which one's Vane? Which one's Samson?
I'm Vane.
Okay.
The big scary one is Vane. The one that you're not quite sure is there or not, that's Samson.
Okay. She'll walk in. She, big metal fire door opens on the top of this. Starts walking you down this stairwell. There are buckets and plastic bins and things at the corners. You can tell this is the kind of apartment building that was built in the 60s, like probably intended as a temporary measure for housing, and it has just stayed up since then. And she says, "I'm sorry, the elevators are out. Every once in a while we get them running again, but right now they're out, so we have to go down the stairs." And you will see as you're going down, there are people peeking out at you from doorways in the halls, looking and then kind of ducking back. A real sense of nervousness about strangers, even with Sister Teresa kind of leading you here. It's also, now that you're kind of out of the rain and into the building, like, the thing that hits you is the smell of food, like cooking and food and all kinds of smells like that kind of pouring through the building here. Outside, all you could smell was rain. But here you get just a full bouquet of adobo and other spices and citrus and so on. And she will go down a hall, opens a door, and shows you into an apartment. It's cramped, very humble. There is a desk and a chair and a bed, and there's no bathroom. There's a common bathroom on the floor. This down the hall, and she'll usher you in, and you're all pretty big, you three. I think Cetus is the only one of you who is not, perhaps, like, takes up more space than a normal person, we would say.
in different dimensions.
Yeah. I think, yeah. And but your presence certainly, even with that, and she will you'll see crucifix on the wall, maybe a few clippings, things like that, maybe some bits and pieces that like tell you that this is a former division agent, somebody who was in the field for a while. The medals and honors that don't actually have names for them because they don't go in official records, that kind of thing. And she will say, let me get out the good stuff for guests. And she'll reach behind the bed and pull out a big bottle of whiskey and some tumblers, and kind of pours one for Beelzebub without kind of asking, hands that to you, looks at Vane, okay, and looks at you, Samson. Okay, pours out the whiskeys, and she will say, I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate Division taking me seriously on this. I'll give you the basics. This is a tight-knit community. It's primarily Manananggal here. We have a few other creatures, but they tend to keep their own small cliques. This has been a refuge for the Manananggal. My order, the Church of the Broken Crucifix, we are sent to places with large monster populations, especially places where those monsters do not receive proper and just treatment. We try to help. There are other monsters here in the Philippines, Dewada and Duende. They can blend better than the Manananggal. And so they receive slightly better treatment. We try, in my order, to be liaisons between the human world and the Manananggal community, but it's hard. I don't know how much you know about them, but the Manananggal, they tend to be lethargic during the day when the heat is on, when the heat is up, when the sun is up. They are more active at night, nocturnal, which means that there are only a few kind of jobs that they can hold. That has been a problem. Often these are the kinds of things that make them vulnerable. Janitors, sex workers, call center operators, that kind of thing. And then she pauses, and you'll hear a knock on the door, and you'll see another apparently a man in a nun's habit come in. He looks particularly severe, like he's young and very frowny faced when he comes in. And Teresa will say, "This is my assistant, Sister Dax. Dax, I was just about to go over things." And she'll say to Dax, ask her question, and Dax will turn and will say, "The larger community doesn't know of the murders yet. We've kept that down. I talked to Mickey and convinced him not to say anything. But eventually something's going to break, and it's going to be bad. And Teresa will not. She'll say, we've had 3 killings, 3 Manananggal, all killed at night. They, in at least one of the cases, we just thought they hadn't returned back. Their lower half was here, but they didn't return to it, and that lower half started to die. But others, 2 others, we found the bodies torn apart, ripped limb from limb. The first was Samantha Reyes. She was a call center operator, and she dreamed of being a novelist. Then Lily Bautista. She worked as a nurse and an activist, and was very well liked around here. Her killing is particularly going to cause ripples when it finally comes out. And finally, there was Jin. He was another community leader and also a folk healer here. We don't have a timeline. We don't know who was killed first, what went on. There is some evidence, but of course, the police don't come down here. They don't help us out. So we hope that you can help. What can I tell you?
Kind of harbinger activity have you seen here?
And she kind of pauses. She says, well, I can't say that we've seen anything specific, but the murders have an occult feel to them, a ritual feel that in my day, in my experience, was pointing to something. As well, I know that there have been some amongst the Manananggal, particularly the elder, who have had visions of a threat over the last several weeks, though I did put it down, I will admit, to simple unrest rather than it being anything specific. I wish I knew more, but I fear that someone or something is using these murders to open a door of power. This is a typhoon season. Is a season of power here. You saw the range. You saw what that natural world can do, and sacrifices during this time. I can get you keys to their apartments. I will set you up in rooms here in the building. I can get people to provide introductions.
Did you go over where the bodies were found?
We found Lily. Lily was found in her own room, killed. We haven't found the rest of Jin, just the lower half of him. And Samantha we found her body about a block away in an alley.
So we should definitely look at Lily's room, I would think. Maybe start there.
Sure.
If you want to talk to people that knew them, I can have Sister Dax go with you. She can introduce you, make contacts, send you the directions you need to go. Is there anything else?
You know this community. Who would have it out for the Manananggal? You said Lily was very well liked. Why would is there any connection between them?
Do you mean who in the Manananggal would have had a battle, or who has it out for this community?
Well, if it was someone who had it out for this, I don't. My question is, is there someone in common who hates all of these people, or who had ire towards these individuals specifically?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I mean, no one comes to mind. Any kind of hatred would be the kind of prejudice that we've seen towards the Manananggal here in the Philippines. I mean, these are people that are exploited. These are people who are scapegoats for when things go wrong. But this seems more than a simple hate crime. Is above anything else?
No. I think Lily's room is a good place to start. I think we can come back and talk to you if we learn anything that you might have. We can't we, sister?
Absolutely. Dax will show you your rooms, the apartments we've set aside for you, and I'm going to have to tell people something. What is the cover you want me to use?
It doesn't matter to me. Whatever you think is best, whatever you think will satisfy their curiosity. You know this community better than we do.
I will tell them that you're from, that you are like them, but from another community, and are here doing social work, research, that sort of thing. Is that fair?
Sure. I think at least from my body language was it's clear. I don't if they find out the truth, sure, whatever. I'm not deeply invested in a cover.
She will stop and she will say, it would be a favor to me if you would keep this as quiet for as long as we can, so we don't have panic amongst the populace, amongst these people. I know that they have a right to be scared, but it will be bad. They are people that do not have a place to flee to.
They know about the killings?
They don't. The only thing that they know is Samantha and Lily have been missing for a bit.
Okay.
And we'll cut. Sister Dax will take you. They show you to you have a bed. That's the apartment that they have set up for each of you, but kind of near each other, such that you can reach each other's rooms rather quickly. You'll see out in the hallways, there are people that are looking at you strangely, and there are the various children and things. And Sister Dax will say, "Do you wish to start with Lily's room?"
I think so.
And she will take you down to the another floor, walk through. You will see that there is a young man with beautifully applied makeup, like, skillfully applied. He's well dressed for here, has a kind of a real glow to him as he comes down at the hallway. And Sister Dax will say, "This is Mickey." And you can see Mickey kind of doesn't meet Sister Dax's eyes. And Dax will say, "Mickey found Lily's body."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything that Sister Dax said I shouldn't, but eventually somebody's going to hear about this. So I don't know. But yeah, I had lent her a kit, a makeup kit, and I wanted to get it back. And I knocked, and she didn't answer. And then I said, I mean, we're friends, we're good friends. So I let myself in, and it was horrible. It was a scene out of a nightmare. Her limbs torn out. I don't know. They took the body away, but it was horrible. And Sister Dax will gesture to the door, and then we'll open it and shuffle all of you inside.
Okay.
And I want you to imagine that they haven't had anyone in here to clean. So there's kind of an old coppery smell in here, insect life, that kind of thing. As you go in, it's a room that certainly is disheveled, both from whatever violence happened here, but also the sort of the process of people coming in to take the body out. Sister Dax will say, "Mickey and I will wait outside." So who would like to do a move here? I think the obvious one is to grasp for keys. But if you have a particular playbook move that you think is appropriate to use to get information or to do something, we can also resolve that.
So I do have a playbook move here that I think I'll try.
Okay.
Death walked here. It reaches in all places and into the heart of all things. When you seek to reconstruct events or learn something valuable in an area, spend darkness tokens and roll.
Okay. How many tokens do you want to spend?
I think I'm going to spend 2.
2. Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Okay, that is a 10.
That's a 10. So we've seen this before. Time stops for the others, Samson. And we'll say Cetus's head kind of turn around, and Samson this voice that you know says, "Calling on me again so soon."
You've already been here. This is where one was brought to your embrace. So, let's see. I've got a couple of questions. Let me look through them and see. And I think that, Cetus's voice, normally whenever we hear it, has a little bit of innocence in it, has a little bit of wonder. We don't hear that anymore. This is a completely different voice with mocking in it. What evidence here will help with my investigation?
So I think so. This isn't a key, but this kind of is a piece of information that kind of gives you some context, and I think that this figure will gesture over to the window, and see this in this body of this death will kind of pass their hands along the frame of the window, and you will see that there are first you think they might be claw marks, but someone has etched some things in the wood beneath the window. You're not sure if it's to mark a place or a message or what, but it has the look like somebody did this over the course of several days. So perhaps Lily was being watched or was talking to somebody or something, that something odd had been going on for a while. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, that's very good. And then the second one is, what important item or knowledge was taken from here?
I think you can see that there is a place. I think Death kind of gestures to this, and for a moment you see there was some kind of diary, like tucked underneath a bed, and Death gives you a vision of that. And when you kind of lift it up to look, the diary is gone.
And I think then time starts to move again. And I've kind of, to everyone else, I've kind of flipped like immediately across the room, and I'm standing there with like the part of the bed frame up. And I say, a book was here and it's missing. And then I also tell you about the markings and possibly being watched and everything.
Vane, what do you want to do?
Can we see the markings? Or
Yeah, like if you move and kind of clear them away, I think you can see them. They're kind of faint enough, but you can get a rubbing of them.
yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Okay. Do you want to use that? Do you want to use a playbook move, or do you want to use that to try and like grasp a key, get a clue that we put on the table?
I have looked at my playbook moves and don't see any that seem well, unless I pulled out a book, and I don't want to do that. Well, no, maybe I will pull out a book. I'm going to pull out a book.
Okay. Let's look at that. Move. How many darkness tokens do you want to spend?
2.
Okay.
Oh, these big dice. 7.
7
plus is 9.
is 9. So that hits right in that sweet spot in the middle.
Okay.
The book twists and recognizes you as its master, and let's say it's that little purple book, and begins to kind of reform into letters and shapes. You get to pick 2 from the list.
Ooh, I think one is I'm going to ask the author of the book, seems to be trapped in it right now, and I'd like to ask them for their advice.
All right. You will reach into there and you will hear a voice and will say, "My name is Ying Hu."
Greetings, Ying Hu.
You have found the 108 symbols. Here they are, the secret way to things, but I have been caught up in them. You will free me, will you not?
Oh, certainly, certainly. I'm sure that will happen eventually. Um, can you see what's in this room, Ying Hu? Can you?
I can sense things. I can understand things.
What do
What
you
is it?
understand about this room?
There is a singular hate here.
Singular hate.
It is not the hate of a group against a group. It is the hate of someone who hates deep in their soul and wishes wickedness for that.
Okay.
That is what I can sense here. And you may also mark that you have a bond with Ying Hu. That's the other part of that.
And none of us have a condition marked, I don't think, do we?
Not yet.
Oh, good.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
Well, then the only other thing that's pertinent is the book eerily describes current events in exacting detail and offers a revelation. Uncover a key at great cost.
You will begin to see those signs and sigils in the book reform themselves. Probably starting with a reference to your last case, to the violence that Beelzebub enacted, and then to the travel, and then to another place, and finally kind of arriving here. And you will see that it says to look beneath the floorboards, kind of points you to a place.
Okay.
Describes it like you have to go out and kind of come back in to kind of find the space here, and you'll lift up a floorboards from in Lily's room, and there is a box. It's kind of worn and has a little bit of water damage to it, but when you open it up, you will see that it is a wedding dress, but it has been cut neatly down the middle across the waist.
Oh, that's weird.
And as you are kind of looking at that, touching that, you will hear the peal of lightning outside, and the building will shake. And through the windows there, the lights, the city, and so on, there is a moment when you see just shadow of 1,000 wings go past the window.
Ooh.
And that is a tick on the doomsday clock. And that is a sign of the doom to come. But the key is the wedding dress, which you can put there on the mystery map page. And what about you, Beelzebub?
I guess I have a question for the other two, my colleagues here, which is like, you're both talking to beings who aren't here. Vane, you're doing it in this book. Samson, you're kind of like, do I know what's going on here? Or are you just like each kind of in your little corners, like doing the thing? And I'm like, some of this question is like, are we talking about simultaneous or action and sequence? But some of it's also like, how aware am I of like what you've got going on with this stuff?
As someone said earlier, Samson is talking, is often talking to things, ghosts and talking to himself and that kind of stuff. And he shared with you what he's seen or what he's just, and you have a feeling it's probably coming from somewhere else. So you've got a feeling for that, but it's also maybe a little crazy.
Sure, but I mean, this is the deal. I'm not crazy. Doesn't bother me. Got it. Cool. And Vane, how about you? Like, do we know about this book situation? Or
Vane, you basically see Vane searching through their pockets and pull out this book and start flipping through it, and then just sort of intensely muttering while kind of staring, sort of almost hypnotized into the book.
Got it. Okay, so I figure there's some kind of magic divination thing going on here. So then in that case, I think this is sort of, it all feels like kind of par for the course for Beelzebub. This is how we do stuff. I don't think I've ever seen Vane look at a book before. Right. So I may be a little bit puzzled by that, but I feel like that's a conversation we can have later. And I think I'm just like poking around the room. I think doing very, very
that's grasping keys. That's taking a look for stuff.
Very standard investigation stuff. I like probably keep an eye on, as Vane gets this dress or finds this dress and Samson's moving the bed. And so I'm sort of like focusing on areas where they are not.
Okay. How many darkness tokens do you want to spend?
Actually, I think I do make a snide comment to Vane looking at the book as I do this, and I'm like, I say, oh, someone taught you to read. Very, 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 very petty way to give them a hard time. I'm gonna take 3 darkness tokens for that, and then spend 2 of them.
Okay.
To roll grasping keys. And I thought I do not have the die roller open, so give me 1 second. Well, I've just got some dice here. I'll be faster.
Yeah.
And I'll open the die roller later. My brand new Avatar dice bag.
Ooh.
There we go. That's 10 plus 2 is 12. Not great.
12. So I think you will kind of look around and kind of move out and look out onto like the fire ladder and that's out there and it kind of looking around, and there'll be a glint that will catch your eye, and you will reach down and you're pretty strong, you're pretty tough, like seriously tough, like that's your thing, but your hand goes across, like this knife has fallen and jammed itself into the outside of the apartment building. You kind of reach down for it and it cuts into your hand. It bites deeply into your hand, like it shouldn't, and your hand pulses with a pain and a feeling of venom from that at the sharpness of this thing. Go ahead and mark a ruin for me.
Sure.
And you will find this dagger with a blood red blade. Like it, when you kind of hold it and kind of move it, it's so sharp it slices the air. Like you'll hear a kind of a ripping sound.
blade that cuts the air.
And I think that we see Samson looking under the bed. We see the wedding dress. I think we see that blood red dagger. And I think that this is actually where we're going to stop for tonight. We're going to, because we'll that way it'll allow us to bring Jose back in.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk meta just a minute before we kind of go to the end of session XP things. So one of the things about this is we're now in a more classic mystery, which means if you guys want to split up, if you guys want to go talk to people, hunt things down, this is much more of a classic. Now, we're in an unstructured play environment. The last thing, we were kind of like moving along a line, exploring a place. So this is where it kind of opens up. So we'll be a little more free form from here on in. The difficulty is 6 for the mystery. So you're going to want at least 6 keys to associate with the things. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Let's talk. I should have had you. I forgot to kind of go back and have you set your playbook specific XP trigger, but you can do that now if you haven't already. Beelzebub, what was your playbook trigger?
So I just chose it now. I didn't hit it, but I'll probably just
Okay.
run with this one for next time, which is, did you protect someone pure and beautiful? If yes, mark 1 XP.
What do you think?
No, definitely not.
Okay. And then, well, let's look at our situational then. Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
I don't really think so. I mean, I maybe my humanity in that card game.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's
right,
very mundane.
Where I was like trying to relate to Vane as like another person, like in this sort of situation we find ourselves in.
That seemed perfect. Go ahead and mark an XP for that. Did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
No.
Okay. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I don't think so.
Okay. Even in that kind of conversation, that pressing.
You know what? No, you're right. I think I learned that Vane is willing to thinks their teammates are more important than the agency.
Okay.
I think that's actually pretty important.
Vane, did you hit your playbook XP trigger?
I did. It was sorry, now I've lost it. Did you entangle another monster within your prophecy? And I think the moment was Cetus.
Yeah. Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. Did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
That I don't think I did.
Okay.
But I did learn something significant about another monster.
Yeah, so definitely mark an XP for that. And then Samson, did you hit your playbook trigger?
I don't think so. Did you give in to an unseemly, improper, or indiscreet desire of your heart? I don't think so.
No, but we've got lots of people around for you to do that and be unseemly with next time. So
That's right. Yes.
We'll also try next time to bring the Professor's Shade in as an element. I would definitely want to do that. Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
I think the scene with Cetus in the break room did express our monstrous nature to the accountant.
Absolutely. And weirdly, your humanity as well. I think there's a double side. I think so. Mark XP. Yeah. Did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
I don't think so. Can't think of anything now.
Okay. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I think I learned Cetus's interest in the wishes of humanity.
Okay.
I think there was a certain amount of desire there that I heard from him during that scene that was super interesting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead and mark an XP for that. The other track, the one that we hit one of this time, is the Doomsday Clock. There is a Doomsday Clock which can be struck as cost for things, and at certain points along the mystery, it represents that things are getting closer to the door opening. And if the doomsday clock hits 6, then the door opens and all hell breaks loose. So just know that that's a clock that's out there, and we are at 1 tick on that. I wouldn't mind just doing a quick stars and wishes. I know we had slightly truncated session, but just want to check in on things. Beelzebub.
Yeah, I want to toss some stars to Stephen for that scene with Cetus in the break room. I thought that was a really great scene. I thought you played it to Jose as well, even though he's not here to hear it. But I think the two of you, had it like played. I learned a lot about your characters. It was fun to listen to and watch, and it seemed like it was fun to take part in. Kat, I want to stars for the interaction over the book, with the spirit of the book, or whatever was happening there. I thought that was like kind of a fun moment. It was like we haven't seen Vane, Beelzebub was an asshole about it, but we haven't seen Vane kind of exercise that part of their brain. They tend to bulldoze through things, and Vane being Vane, you kind of bulldoze through that interaction, but it was a different kind of bulldozing, and I liked that. That was fun. So stars there. And Lowell, I really like the way I like everything you're doing, but those one-on-one scenes with the captain were a ton of fun. I like the way you both pointed to each one at specific things our characters did, but also gave us enough space to sort of send the interaction in a direction we wanted to go. They were all really great. So big star there.
Any wishes? We're good as we go into this mystery. Is we kind of going to be on the ground here? If there's anything particular,
I think you've already given us some of them, but and I'm into the way this is kind of a supernatural situation, with supernatural NPCs around. So I would like to see some cool, powerful NPCs who may or may not be antagonistic, that I can use my fancy new move, I Remember the Taste of You, on.
Okay, absolutely. I think we've got the Manananggal Elder as a potential, and some other ones. I think that's great.
Yeah, they're already here. I'm just excited to have those chances.
Vane.
I was going to also mention, I thought that the conversations with the captain were really nice because everybody's was so different, and it gave a good sense of the character each time. So stars all around for those. I thought it was really nice to kind of get a chance to get a feeling for the base, and to see the accountant scuttling out of the room, and it just a lot of really nice stuff there. As far as wishes go, maybe Vane would like a little violence, is pretty much what drives her. So that would be top of her list.
Okay. And Samson.
Yeah, stars. I love the scene in the library. The whole book and the whole interaction with the librarian, and the having to dress all in white and all of that was all fantastic, and very, I could picture it really well in my mind. And I really appreciated the way that Beelzebub interacted with the mother and with the captain, just very flippant, and very much very, it really drew out what his character was like and how he dealt with people. And then Lowell, as far as setting the scene and making sure everything was very evocative and all of that. I've been enjoying the game quite a bit. I was like, oh, I need to go back and reread Touchstones. So I've been going back and reading some of the BPRD and Tailboy and that kind of stuff. And it's, I can tell it's a good game when I'm starting to do, background reading and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So very good. As far as wishes, I've been looking through the moves. I think I'm going to stay with the move that I had before. Originally, I like it.
Okay.
But I need to figure out how to work some of them in and how to get them in place, just to get a good feel for things.
Yeah. Let's do this. Like, take a look through, and at the beginning of next session, maybe tag if there's a particular move that you say, hey, I'd like to try and get to this. And we might not get to it, but we at least bring into my awareness. That means I can kind of look at leaning opportunities and presenting those.
Part of the difficulty is, two of my moves have to do with like planning and setting up a plan or doing an investigation and that kind of thing. The other two have to do with interacting with NPCs, with ghosts, and that leaves out PCs. So I think that's where I struggle a little bit, is how do I use those moves and still keep other players involved?
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. And we can look at ways of doing that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. And for those of you, if anyone has stayed through this, this is the Manananggal Murders. This is one of the mysteries from the base set of Apocalypse Keys. Please also note that this is a different mystery than the other group is going through that I do in the afternoon session. From this point forward, there will be no duplication of mysteries. I want to give a star, by the way. You will see why later, but there were some things that you all seeded in the division thing that will come to pay off. That I was very, very pleased that it was brought up. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to stop the recording.